And it's 6:30, and we have a music maker, as is regular every other week on a Tuesday evening. And tonight, that person is Roy Barber, who, as he's just told me, defies definition. He's a guitarist, shall we say, and he's of late become a singer-guitarist, because for the first time ever, in his maturer years, he's begun to use his vocals. And without further ado, let's say hello first to Roy.
Hi, folks. All right.
Should we have a song?
This is how I learned to sing the blues.
Lovely.
After 30 years, yeah. People ask me when I sing the blues, how did I learn, method did I use? Though I could tell you how, my friend, it's not the way I'd recommend. You find a good love and you treat her wrong, then you worry about it 'cause she's gone. You say come back and she'll refuse. That's how I learned to sing the blues. Now people pay to listen to my songs, the melancholy sound of love gone wrong. And though the blues has brought me wealth, I find I can't sing nothing else. I've lost a love that I can't replace. With a line I sing, I see her face. No, it's not the way I choose, but it's how I learned to sing the blues. In the night, when other lovers hold the true love's tight, I hold another, but it just don't feel right 'cause of the memories I crave. Come the dawn, just for a moment I forget that you're gone. Reach out to hold you in the cold gray light, but only find the feelings that I used to sing these blues. Come the dawn, just for a moment I forget that you're gone. Reach out to hold you in the cold gray light, but only find the feelings that I used to sing these blues. So my advice is, while you have a choice, try some exercises with your voice. When you sing, cry every word, flap the seventh and the third. You can make it sound as if you're sad. Don't be a fool and treat that good love bad. You'll gain less than you lose. You'll maybe sing the blues. You'll learn about the blues. Ain't nothing but bad news when you learn to sing the blues. When you learn to sing the blues. Okay.
Oh, it sounds really hollow when you clap on your own.
Yeah, well,
I am the only person in here, but I have to say, that was magnificent, sent shivers down the spine. And you have to see this poor fella here, stuck in a corner where there's virtually no room.
It's not an ideal environment.
No, can't wield the arm much with that guitar. So cramped conditions, a little primitive, but you coped extremely well.
Prevailed.
Roy Barber, you tell me you've only just started singing.
Indeed, yeah. I guess a year ago I probably knew 3 songs. I didn't even know I could sing. It needs other people to tell you that you can sing, really.
Come on, you must have been humming and singing to yourself over these years. Surely someone must have noticed you could sing.
Nope, not really. No, I mean, a few hoop-hoopy-doos in the background,
So-
backing vocals.
When someone like yourself, who's been a guitarist, who's been a session musician, who's played with loads of the biggest acts in, this part of the world at the very least, and some world-famous figures, do you feel embarrassed then singing in front of them? Is that what holds you back?
I still feel embarrassed about singing, really, because it's a very personal thing, I think, singing, because, if you play guitar, things like that, maybe if you're not so good, folks just think you need more practice. If you sing and you're not so good, they think you shouldn't sing. It is personal.
Take it from me. I'm sure you've taken it from a lot of people. The singing is great.
Indeed, it surprised me.
Yeah. Does your voice, has it, because I know with people like Eric Clapton and even singers like Richard Thompson, their voices have got richer over the years. I don't know if it's all the hard living or anything, but their voices develop a certain...
I've done some of that.
Has that happened? Has your voice changed a lot?
I'm sure it has, and to be honest, in many ways I wish I'd started to sing earlier, because I'm enjoying it, and it's satisfying.
Do you write your own material?
No, I don't, actually. It's something I'm going to get round to. I've always been busy. I keep changing direction, you see, changing instruments, and that sort of keeps me busy. But songwriting does appeal to me. I tend to take other people's songs and maybe add a few verses to it, because especially simple melodic country songs, when you come to break it down, they don't have many verses and choruses. So I'll add a couple to it and spread it out a bit. That's as far as I got with songwriting. I did write a song a long time ago called Poor Little Rich Man, which is slightly embarrassing now, probably.
Let's take you back. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up, I was born at Totterley, and indeed I'm back there now.
My word, come full circle.
Yes, back to my roots. But I grew up more or less around Intake, Freshfield, Hackenthorpe area, up there. I went to school at Rowlinson. Technical Grammar School, as it was then. And that's pretty much where I got the first influences of guitar. I walked past a classroom one day, and there were two older guys playing skiffle on acoustics. And
Are we talking early 60s here?
Probably late 50s, I guess. I
Right.
might be 14, something like that. But that shook me to my roots. Real guitars. Because, of course, we were hearing this stuff on Radio Luxembourg. Nothing on BBC then. No electric guitars on BBC. But we were listening to this stuff coming in from America, and that was the closest thing I'd heard. Oh, Lonnie Donegan, It was a big influence. My mother got me out of bed one night to come and watch this guy. It's probably only 7:45, but he was the wildest thing I'd ever seen. And of course, skiffle, it got a lot of people playing. So, a guy called Chris Stainton, who many people will have heard of, he went to the same school in the same class. He's now playing with Eric Clapton, Joe Cocker. We started playing together at school. I got a guitar. He made a bass guitar because he couldn't afford one, so we made one out of a piece of wood, which promptly folded up in half once he put strings on it. We didn't bargain for that. Should have done. We were doing A-level physics. O-level physics, isn't it? So I got some files from work, big long files, and we screwed them on the neck to stop it bending. And we got playing. I got a band together with Johnny Tempest, local hero. Good old boy, Johnny Tempest.
Was he doing the club circuit, that sort of thing?
No, there was a separate scene in Sheffield then, a very healthy pub scene developing. Church halls and things like that. Freshfield Church Hall, community centre. Places like that, Saturday night. You could get jobs in pubs out in Derbyshire, Castleton and places. There were gigs around, but of course you'd play for £1. A lot of money then.
Was it something you thought very quickly, I want to do this as a career, or did you think it was just a hobby?
Not at all. Well, it's just hellish good fun. It's real good fun. Playing guitars. And just the organisation. I remember we got a job in Maltby. We got 2 nights in Maltby. A Saturday and Sunday night. So we stayed over. It was like being on tour, because Maltby seemed a long way then, before the motorway. Crazy now. It's good fun when you're just a teenager.
We're going to hear more about the early years and how you got on with Frank White, etc., after we've heard a little bit of travel news.
We Radio Sheffield Jam Dodger traffic.
No doubt problems to report on the M1 heading northbound between junction 29 at Chesterfield and junction 30 at Barber. We've got a broken down car there in the outside lane, which is worsening. The delays are already occurring because of the narrow lanes, which is between junction 28 and 29, so do be aware of that. We've still got this closure in Dronfield to remember. Rakes Lane is closed by an earlier factory fire. Still a bit slow on the A1M through the contraflow north of junction 36 at Walmsworth, and the A1 at Wentbridge is a similar story. Fairly slow approaching the restrictions, but it's all calmed down now through Sheffield, Doncaster, Rotherham and the rest of the centres. Spot any further problems, you can call us on the Jam Dodger hotline. It's 0114 256 1212. Michael Taylor, Radio Sheffield Travel.
My music maker this evening on Newswatch is Roy Barber. He's talking about the early years when he was just getting started, didn't know whether he wanted to take music as a career option, but then he bumped into a fella by the name of Dave Berry.
Yeah, that made the decision for me, because you had to be pro. So it meant packing in the day job, which I did without hesitation, obviously.
Did you have a day job?
I was going to be a metallurgist, yeah.
Oh, right,
I showed promise.
Yeah, you got the whole hog with the
yeah,
physics
I was doing
business.
night school. Yes, yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but Dave Berry called, and so I went. And
Was he a star in those days?
he was in Sheffield, but, big star in Sheffield, as big as you could get. And then the big break came. We went to London, made the records, and then the money started rolling in. And then for some strange reason, we were out of work. I don't know what went wrong, but things happen when the money comes in.
Yeah, the
job
downs.
starts to go wrong.
What, I mean, when you think back on it, can you pinpoint what the problems were when the decline started?
It's usually greed. Usually. If there's money around, it's usually greed.
All these stories of the bands in the 60s, there was all sorts of things at play. There was the power struggle, there were the people who wanted to have all the creative input, or you had just the drugs taking their toll. I mean, what was the...
It was before drugs, and it was before we realised we could be creative. We were just copying other people, just copying Americans.
Is that how you learnt your guitar licks? Did you just sit down with a guitar, listen to records?
You do, actually. You just take a record that absolutely fascinates you, and you just think, I want to know how he's doing that.
But how can you do that without being taught and tablature and watching someone else?
It's just hit and miss, really. You go and watch other people playing around. Somebody finds a lick, and you go and watch what.
So your fingerwork's all wrong, isn't it? Probably.
Probably, yeah. Probably still is, but eventually you get there.
Because someone was talking about your playing to me the other day, saying it's incredible the way he manoeuvres his hands around that guitar. Could that be it, do you think? Is it because actually there is maybe an easy way, but you're doing it the way that you taught yourself?
Yeah, and it's taken 30 years. I've been playing, that's a long time. I play a lot at home, I play all the time. Something's got to happen. If you do something for 30 years, you've got to get good at something.
But your dexterity, I mean, you have to have the basic requisite, which is you've got to have those flexible fingers and a bit of dexterity, because, I mean, just watching you playing a few minutes ago, it was incredible.
Yeah, changing instrument, I mean, the pedal steel, which I went on to later on, that's an incredibly difficult instrument, and that taught me a lot of dexterity on picking blocks of strings out. And now I've gone back to guitar again. I think I'm using those abilities. So.
Give us a quick burst of dexterity.
Something flash. I don't really go for instrumentals, but this is something I knock together. I do at home. Just a shortened version.
Fantastic.
It's just showing up.
Oh, that's great. No, that's just what I wanted to hear. Some of the stuff you play, the little break you did in the song we heard earlier, you've got some folk, there's a bit of rock, then there's a little bit of Spanish guitar, all these little elements come into it.
There's all sorts of things. Indeed, there is, because I try to tell people, the first thing they ask is, what sort of music do you play? And I can't tell them. I don't know. I ask other people to. On stage, if I'm singing, I do a lot of gentle things.
Like?
Certainly a lot of gentle things. Maybe Georgia on My Mind, or old standards. I like old standards. I like Nat King Cole, Ray Charles, those sort of things.
Yeah.
The class songs, Hoagie Carmichael songs. Things.
So when your excursions with Dave Berry came to an end, you joined up with another legend, Frank White.
Indeed.
Things went
Frying Pan and Fire come to mind.
How long did you stick with Frank? Were those good times?
I guess it was a couple of years. Very formative years, yeah. Frank taught me a hell of a lot on guitar. He's a hard taskmaster, doesn't take any prisoners.
Yeah.
And playing second guitar to Frank, who's obviously a guitar legend, in all honesty, he doesn't do many favours on stage. So it's sink or swim. And I swam.
Did he hog the limelight then a bit with the guitar?
Well, Frank does.
Yeah. So you found your solo being cut off after about 10 seconds.
Depends how good the solo is.
But that's quite a challenge when there are two strong guitarists in a lineup.
Yeah, I approach things differently. Frank could do the loud, screaming, passionate guitar. I did a more gentler approach. That's the only way I could beat him. Well, not beat him, but match him at his own game. And we made an album, which Frank was writing at that time, and I got well involved in the sort of arrangements of the songs, which I enjoyed. And I gained a lot of confidence with Frank. But that came to a natural conclusion. I think I'd had enough of the volume and the loud guitars. I was searching for some melody, so I took up pedal steel guitar.
What induced you to do that?
Desperation, I think.
Pedal steel?
No, I wanted to go back to the drawing board.
Obviously it's an instrument that you associate purely with country.
Yeah, I'd enjoyed the sound for years. Most people enjoy the sound. It's a delicious sound.
It is a fantastic sound, yeah.
But it is unbelievably difficult to play. So I bought the thing, disappeared for a year or so, all intention. In actual fact, I was in the studios 3 weeks after I got it, playing it. Wow. Marvin Rainwater, I think it was, who did Takes a Whole Lot of Loving, a whole lot of mounting. And from that point, I never stopped working in studios. It was great masses of sessions.
It was a shrewd move on your part, because you obviously realised...
Not intentional, I guess.
There weren't that many pedal steel players around in those days. And
no, I realised that. That's why I got the sessions.
Why did it become a fashionable instrument? Why were you getting all these calls?
I think there's been a slight increase in interest in country music, a widening popularity of it, and by definition, pedal steel makes it country. So I got the sessions, I got a lot of TV work, got the tours when people came over. We'd tour with Glenn Campbell and George Hamilton IV, people like that. And there's some good... I got to play with Don Everly, which that's a real high point for me, yeah. I did a series of TV shows, and Don Everly was the guest on one of them. It was about an 8-piece band. And when it came to the solo, he shouted up for some steel guitar, and I thought, yeah, that's the moment. It's all been worthwhile, because you can't beat the Everly Brothers. Yeah. Wonderful.
Were you in any way, when the people came over from the States, your Don Camels, presumably they brought some of their own musicians with them, did they?
Yeah, and excellent musicians they were. Yeah, there are some superb musicians. They're the best. It's their music.
Did you ever take your steel guitar and go to steel guitar country and sort of sit alongside some of the masters?
No, I wouldn't get it out in their presence. Because the masters, you really are talking the best in the world.
Throw out some of the names.
Pedal steel, you're talking Buddy Emmons. He's definitely the governor. But you go to watch him, and I might as well be playing trombone for how close I am, because they are just unbelievably so far in front. So
why do you want to do something when you... you're being modest, but you in your own way of thinking, you say you can never touch these guys. Why do you want to play it then?
Why? Well, I didn't realise that at the time, because there's something about the pedal steel that before you play it, they all sound marvellous.
Yeah.
when you've been playing it a short while, you start to realise the difference between the best and the worst steel players. It all becomes apparent, just how good the good guys are. I imagine it's the same if you play snooker or golf. I imagine golfers probably know what I'm talking about.
Roy, you were telling me a bit earlier that you hate listening to yourself.
Yes, I do.
In general, not just your steel guitar playing. I mean, I personally have no objections to you playing guitar. In fact, I'm going to ask you to do another track as well in a minute.
Okay.
But why do you have this problem listening to your own music?
I think it's striving to get better, really, because I mean, the instant that you're satisfied with the way you play, then, well, it's going nowhere after that, isn't it? You've got to keep wanting to improve. And if you find you're not improving, then I change direction, change instruments. But pedal steel, I could see I should have started it when I was 7 years old or something. I was never going to get there. Although the work was useful, because it took me places I wouldn't have got. Because I got to play in Texas. It's a big country nightclub there called Billy Bob's, which holds about 6,000 people. World famous place. I would never have got there playing guitar, because there's so many guitarists around. Plus the TV work, and I don't know, the money's good.
Where are you happiest playing, though? Do you like the big venues? Did you like the big rock lineups in the 60s, or are you happier sitting in a pub with your guitar and a pint and a few friends?
I'm actually happiest playing around the kitchen table when I get a few guys round.
Why is
girl
that?
Singers. I think because there's no audience there.
Are you shy? Are you shy? I mean, is there a certain...
No, it's not shy. I think it's... once there's an audience there, you owe the audience something. You've got to play to the audience. That's why they're there. So you choose the material. You play safe, maybe. Round at home, if you got guests in... It's self-indulgence, really. If there are other musicians round, you play what interests you.
In the Barber household, I mean, is it sort of a typical end to a dinner party? Oh, go on, Roy, get your guitar out.
It's becoming that way now. I sing, yeah.
And the requests?
I might, once I've had a drink, I'll sing.
It'll start being like performing, actually, won't it, after a while, when you know you're going to be asked to get the guitar out?
I must admit, it does temper, because it gets like that in pubs.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, well, shall I drop down the Harlequin, Fagins, whatever, the Boardwalk? I don't know, if I go there, I'm going to finish up playing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to finish up borrowing somebody else's guitar, which is not to my taste.
Yeah.
So I don't bother. Go
so you
to
keep
the
yours in the boot of the car, do you?
Well, not there. It's too precious to leave it there. It's a nice guitar, this.
Yeah.
But... I enjoy it, really. I mean, once I've had a couple of beers, I want to sing. Don't everybody want to sing when they've had a couple of beers?
Absolutely, and listen if you can't sing. But Roy, let's have another track now.
I'll do one of those old songs, Hoagie Carmichael song.
Great.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you. Comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pine. How their arms reach out to me, how their eyes smile tenderly, still and peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, 'cause an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. reach out to me. How their eyes smile so tenderly, still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, 'cause an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind, on my mind. Still an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
All right, excellent stuff.
Late
Roy,
night music.
thank you, very much so. I was just missing the pint of bitter in the, and it would have been perfect, I think. And you've got
tango
yourself
will have to do.
tango's going to have to do. Where are you performing next?
Not sure, actually. Probably the Boardwalk.
Probably the Boardwalk.
Yeah.
We'll keep you
Yeah.
posted. Hopefully,
I'm looking for some gigs in Ireland. I've been working in Ireland lately.
great stuff. The future holds more music for you then.
I like to think so.
Nothing but music.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks so much for coming in this evening. It's been
Thank
a real
you.
pleasure meeting you. And that's Roy Barber, our music maker this evening, who's told us about his life and times on the guitar, on the steel guitar. And we'll let you know the next time he's down the Boardwalk at Herbie's place performing, as he does regularly. And if you catch him in the pub, and the Harlequin, for example, don't ask him to get his guitar out.
Maybe.
I'll be back at 4 o'clock tomorrow.